So what's happening, calculator?
Hey, greetings and salutations, Mr. 411. We did the appetizers. We did the meats and potatoes main course. Now we about to get the vegetables in. And you know, wide receivers are vegetables. And I'll tell you why. Sometimes you don't want to draft them, but they make you healthy. You know what I'm saying? You got to eat them because you're not going to win the championship without them. Yours truly, I'll say it, 3 years ago was one of my best seasons ever. I had a Saquon Barkley that got me under double digits for pretty much the whole year from the running back one position. But I had the trio of Cooper Kupp in his magical breaking season, Debo Samuel, who that was one of the few seasons he was healthy throughout, scoring like 6-7 rushing touchdowns to go with his 60-yard touchdowns, and then Jamar Chase his rookie year. So I literally had 3 of the top 5 scoring receivers on one team. And you know what? I didn't even need running backs. I didn't need quarterbacks when you had those guys. Dude, and what's crazy, Mr. 4-1, when I did the draft, I didn't draft any of them as my wide receiver one. The guy I drafted ahead of all 3 of them was Terry McLaurin.
Oh, wow. Look at there.
So that just goes to show you, yeah. So Terry McLaurin, I drafted him as my top wide receiver, and I didn't even wind up using him by the second half of the year.
Yeah, man. And you mentioned vegetables, man. Also, it got me thinking, like,
man, Mr. 401 was so shocked his screen froze.
Yeah, I mean, what's
so look at that shot.
What's one of my favorite vegetables? I'm not sure, calculator. I'm thinking maybe the carrots and peas. You know what I'm saying? I like carrots and peas, so I want to roll them together.
I was like, yeah. Well, I don't like to eat them alone. I like to eat them with mashed potatoes or something. You know, I used to always put the peas with the mashed potatoes. So, but yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, hey, man, that's a great move.
Yes. But again, sometimes you don't want to do it, but they're good for you, folks. And wide receivers are going to be good for you this year, and that's what we're going to try and help you out, figure things out on this episode.
Okay, well, we have the top 10 wide receivers. We have the mock draft, the much anticipated mock draft again as we get close to league play now and league drafts across the globe. So we'll dive into those.
I think we got
things.
some news and notes too, Mr. 41, that we'll share with the people as well, especially since
absolutely.
after the week 2 preseason is in the books.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll kick things off with news and notes. But first, let's take care of a little business.
And we are back, Mr. 411.
We are. Make sure everybody goes to TikTok, Mr. 411, and there's the QR code.
Folks, that's what Mr. Yep.
Go ahead, calculator.
Showing ways that can be a follower of the show, right, Mr. 411?
Absolutely. Same thing here with Instagram. Do the same thing, Mr. 411. And just go ahead and take a picture of those QR codes, if you will. And there it is again. We're gonna run it back again right there. So you take care of all that. We're gonna show you this one as well. You know what I'm saying? You get the picture. You get the picture. All right, because you're gonna see clips. You're gonna see all kinds of stuff that's gonna help you across the sports world that we cover, and in particular fantasy football. And by the way, calculator, the production team's got some nice clips of some previous episodes that we're gonna start, sprinkling out there for the viewers. And so, man, get ready to see more of the calculator in that fashion. Can't wait for that. But yeah, here we are, August the 19th. Man, time is flying. 2024, and today we're gonna make sure we do all those things we just mentioned to you earlier. So, and you never know. You never know who's also going to come in.
Oh, and this weekend, folks.
Go ahead. Oh, go ahead, calculator. Can you hear me, calculator? Oh, okay. I don't know if you can hear me. He said something about.
I can hear you. You're going in and out, Mr. 401. Okay, yeah, this weekend, folks, is the one of the busiest draft weekends of the year. So that's why, if you were following our show, we try to schedule everything so you can at least get the main positions in there for the draft. And of course, we'll finish up next week with the tight ends, kickers, and defenses. So, but yeah, we're trying to get we wanted to get those main positions. We wanted to get the appetizer, meats and potatoes, and vegetables all for people to be ready to arm themselves for this weekend week.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, calculator. So speaking of that, it's time to eat then. So let's get into the news and notes.
Absolutely. Folks, one of the reasons we like to draft later on in the year, Jalen Warren, he was flying up draft boards. He was actually leapfrogging Najee Harris, and we talked about him briefly on our running back show. But Jalen Warren expected to miss multiple weeks with the hamstring injury he suffered in the Saturday preseason game versus the Bills, according to NFL Network's Tom Pelerso. He talks what he has just stated that Warren's availability for week 1 is in doubt. So you zero running back folks, fire up the Najee Harris shares. If you dropped your running back one on Najee Harris, it's good. But for those zero running back folks that dropped the shares on Jalen Warren, got to fire up those other running backs that you drafted as well. DeAndre Hopkins expected to be ready week 1. We talked about him a few weeks ago when he injured his knee, but he should be ready week 1 per ESPN's Turin Davenport. It was a little bit 3 weeks ago that we said it would cost him 4 to 6 weeks, but it looks like it'll be the short end of the timetable. And since this came in today, yours truly had to adjust the rankings accordingly. Raiders head coach Antonio Pierce announced that Gardner Minshew has been announced as the starting quarterback, leaving Aiden O'Connell as the backup. Pierce said the decision was based on many factors, not based on their performances in this past preseason game. O'Connell threw a pick 6 late in the game. So even though they said there's not that much, that could be it. Gardner Minshew is going to be the starter for the Raiders. And then we talked about it briefly on last year's news, but Dan Quinn, head coach for the Commanders, suggested multiple times that there is an ongoing competition for the team's number 2 and 3 wide receiver spots. So that means Johan Dotson, Donami Brown, Olamide Zacchaeus.
Oh my gosh!
So those guys, yeah, exactly. So those are pick your poison if you're going with the Commanders. The only guy set in stone is Terry McLaurin. So, but yeah, that could be a rough one there. That's a stay away in my opinion. But hey, we talked in the running back section. We could not name Brees Hall's backup. Yes, it is Braylon Allen is his backup. He's been showing out in his preseason games. The coaching staff likes his passing game ability. He got 2 of 4 targets, 12 yards, but he's impressed in the practices with his route running and pass protection, which is huge for rookies. They always say rookies, the last thing for them to learn is pass protection, but once they master that, they move up the depth chart. So Braylon Allen, if you need a Brees Hall handcuff, which sometimes I do, I do advise that if you spend a high pick on a high running back, might want to get their handcuffs a couple rounds ahead of ABP to assure that it's good. And then the guy that we said was probably going to be cut, Kamani Vidal. Well, yes, folks. Yeah, we said he might actually get cut. Well, guess what? He is in 1 week. He's dropped weight, now he has moved ahead of Isaiah Spillers on the depth chart and possibly to make the roster. This change came as after Vidal ran 49 yards on 11 carries in the preseason game. So it looked like that piano he was carrying 2 weeks ago has been shedded. So it looks like Vidal, Kamani Vidal, could be your Mr. Irrelevant on some teams, if you so please. But that's our news for after the main news we go. But hey, the main one again. I'm going to go ahead. You were kind enough to show some pictures. Jalen Warren, that's fly, folks. We'd like to draft later in the season because we want to try and get as much information as possible before you draft.
Absolutely. And I wonder if you can hear me, calculator.
I can hear you.
Okay, very good. Yeah, sometimes I freeze up a little bit, but that's okay. I need that, man. It's so hot outside, you know. Got to freeze
Yeah,
up a little bit here
that's right.
before we get into the winter days here in Georgia. But man, that's news and notes, man, and way to get that done there, calculator. Let's jump into the meat now, if you will, of our meal. Even though we're talking about the vegetables, uh,
Vegetables.
the wide
Yeah.
receiver, right? The wide receiver. Hey, by the way, asparagus, man. They're close to
Oh,
0 calories, and they're good, man. That's something that
they're
I
they're
didn't. I
they are
wasn't. I
they
wasn't a
are.
fan of
That's right.
asparagus.
They are good if they're cooked right. Because I've
There
had
you
the
go.
slimy asparagus, but I've had grilled asparagus with the right seasoning. That just like the real
Ooh,
crisp when you bite it. Oh man, that's some good stuff. Especially my wife was kind enough to get me one of those Blackstone grills for Father's Day a couple weeks ago. So when we get the
wow,
asparagus, I fire up the Blackstone and I make sure the asparagus gets cooked on one side while I cook the meat on the other. And oh man, it tastes really good that way.
man, come on, calculator. Now I'm ready to eat, man.
Yeah.
I'm ready to eat. All right, but yeah, I heard you eat a whole plate of those things, man, and save
Mhm.
the calories. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, we're gonna
Absolutely.
get into the wide receivers, man. So top 10 receivers. You let the producers know when you want to see any graphics, but I'm passing this baton back to you, calculator.
Okay. So the top 10? If people want to know, we me and Mr. 41 are pretty close in our rankings. So yeah, and Mr. 41, you can give the signal to producers. They got there we go. See, as you can see, consensus number one, CD Lamb, and yes, we know he's in a contract dispute, but we know history shows that the Cowboys take care of their players. They might play a little hardball, but eventually they take their couple players. And after CD Lamb solidified himself as the number one wide receiver last year, I think they're going to try and get him. Tyreek Hill's a close second behind. Matter of fact, I would not, with this contract situation going now, I wouldn't blame people taking the security of a Tyreek Hill over a CD Lamb if they're worried about contacts situation. But yeah, CD Lamb, the overall number one receiver. But me and Mr. 411 does have a little difference. Mr. 411, you have Jamar Chase ahead of Amon St. Brown, and I have Amon St. Brown ahead of Jamar Chase. Why would you take a Jamar Chase ahead of Amon St. Brown? What's your reasoning for that?
Oh man, well, calculator. I'm going with Chase because not because of the credit cards and everything, because I don't have a Chase card, but Jamar Chase, man, he was man when he burst onto the scenes, man, he was killing it, man. You know what I'm saying? And then even in 2023, 100 receptions, 1,216 yards, 7 touchdowns. Now, of course, the touchdowns were a little down, but I just think with the emergence of Slim Shady, Eminem. I mean, I'm sorry, Burrows. The new hairdo he's doing, coming back with now the new look. I think it's gonna be a new look for Chase, and I really think that he's gonna his touchdowns are gonna go up this year. I like the fact that Burrows is back, and he should be fully healthy this year going into the season. So I'm riding that combination of those two. Like I said, we're close on that. But for my tiebreaker, it's just that I think that Burrows is going to break out, and along with that will be
Yeah,
Chase benefiting.
yeah, and your tiebreaker is upside, which you just explained, which I can see. My tiebreaker is consistency. My tiebreaker is a guy that hey, Jared Goff is not the greatest quarterback, but he's out there every time. I'm always worried. Joe Burrow didn't just have one injury last year; he had two injuries. We've only seen now. Hey, we've seen what Jamar Chase can do when him and Burrow are completely healthy. He won yours truly a championship with his 50-point game his rookie year, but he had Joe Burrow. He had an offense that was humming.
Right.
But now it's like I just don't see. I need guys out there. So that's why. Hey, Jamar Chase in my top five. I got him right behind Amon, but I just want the more certainty. I want the things that make me feel good after I draft. And Amon's just like one that he's kind of that security blanket that kind of makes you
Hmm.
feel good after you draft him. We talk about different leagues. Yours truly plays a lot of guillotine leagues. A guillotine league is basically you don't want to finish last in the league because then you get cut. So Amon St. Brown owners usually had him. They rode his 20 points, and they usually rode deep into guillotine leagues because of that consistency. And Jamar Chase, yeah, I'm speaking like a guy that he's burned because I got burned, and that could be but that's what scars you. But that's the one thing I have him. Me and you both have Justin Jefferson right behind him. Now, Justin Jefferson, he was the number one overall wide receiver just last year, but that's when he had Kirk Cousins, folks. He don't have Kirk Cousins anymore. He has Sam Darnold. You could say Justin Jefferson is quarterback proof. Well, yeah, we'll agree somewhat with that. That's why he's in our top 10, but he's not going any higher because of the quarterback. So, yeah, he's quarterback proof to a point. So that's why we both had Justin Jefferson, both of us, Sam. Now, you have Garrett Wilson right ahead of A.J. Brown. And I have A.J. Brown ahead of Garrett Wilson. What's your reasoning for having Garrett Wilson ahead of A.J. Brown?
Hey man, I look. I feel like you said people got burnt. You know, well, you got burnt before, right? And I feel like a lot of people were burnt last season because of not because of this guy on the screen right here, but because the guy that maybe a couple weeks ago we didn't talk too much about, but that's the quarterback for the Jets, right? And so I think that his
Yeah.
return is going to be what helps elevate Garrett Wilson this year. As long as Rodgers is healthy, and he has to make up for last season. You know what I'm saying? And I think that in conjunction with that, Wilson should have a much better season. He doesn't have Zach as the quarterback this year. He's going to again, we can't predict the future, but as long as we're looking at a 13 to 16, week span of having Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback, I think Wilson can be that guy that he probably outdoes his projection, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying, or even our projection. So if you can get him as your seventh best receiver, you might get, top four production out of him. So that's why I like
Mhm.
Wilson.
Yeah, I like A.J. Brown a little ahead of Wilson just because, I like the offense to get back on track. I
Hmm.
love the coaching staff. I love that. Yes, they have Devontae Smith, but if you read, A.J. Brown was getting close to 50% of first looks. And a lot of times he beats his man early and he'll get the ball. So I just think, and also A.J. Brown, I just think we've seen it before. He's good on the deep ball, he's good on the short ball. And I just think that Philadelphia is just going to score a lot more points, which means more opportunities for A.J. Brown. So that's one of the reasons I like A.J. Brown and Harry Wilson. Now, me and you both have Puka Nakua, Marvin Harrison Jr. the same. But then we're going to talk about our differences in our pick. Your number 10 pick. I guess he just made it for you, Mr. 41. You like Drake London as your number 10. What do you like about Drake London this year?
Man, well, for one, I think you'll understand this. You mentioned it earlier, right? You like Drake. Drake. I mean, you like the fact you mentioned the fact that Atlanta has new quarterbacks in town, and so I think that's what kind of affects Jefferson a little bit. Even though Jefferson is such a beast, he's going to kind of survive not having that quarterback. But to lose the quarterback that's now in Atlanta, right? To have the veteran there and also have Penix Jr. There as well. I think there's a secure situation there with Cousins and Penix Jr. in Atlanta. So I think London being a big receiver, playing in the dome most of the time, and then also get that dome against New Orleans as well. And then you got a good weather game in Tampa and Carolina. So I think that he's going to have he's another guy that I feel like will have a breakout type of year, meaning
Mm-hmm.
he's going to outdo where people think he should land. And this happens every season. It's just a matter of land on who. And I feel like if you have a quarterback and then you got this big receiver in London, like he showed flashes last season. And that was with some let's just say subpar quarterbacking. Uh,
Yes.
So now with a little
Well,
with an
subpar
upgrade.
quarterback and Arthur Smith calling plays.
Oh yeah,
So
and then
it
you
was a
got Arthur
combination.
Smith, right? And you talked about him earlier in news and notes. But yeah,
And I have to agree with you, Mr. 41. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah. So
yeah.
that's why I feel like London can
And
break
Mr.
out,
41,
man.
if my thing is, yeah, and see what kind of Drake London was actually my number 10 wide receiver as well. But what
Okay.
changed it was the news I pronounced this morning in Gardner Minshew being the quarterback. And I think that is huge for Devontae Adams. Folks, let me just spit some stuff off to people about Devontae Adams, right? For league leading target share of 33%. All right, 103 reception, 175 targets, over 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns. 8 touchdowns, which means, folks, that was with, you want to talk about stuff, but Garoppolo in and out of the lineup, Aiden O'Connell, rookie. Now they got a guy that has been in the league. Yes, Gardner Minshew's not great, but he can support a number one receiver. He made Mike Pittman before Mike Pittman went out with an injury, and Mr. 401 can attest he was a Michael Pittman owner in one of the leagues.
Yes, I
Gardner
was.
Minshew, when he locks on a target, he will force feed that guy, and I'm telling you, with the Raiders' subpar defense playing against those Chiefs 2 games a year, we're talking about shootout city, folks. And so, hey, garbage points are just as good as regular points during the regular game. I love Devontae Adams now since they just that. Now, I was cool on him because I didn't know who was quarterback. But as soon as I heard Antonio Pierce going with Devontae Adams, I said Devontae Adams is a 12 quarterback with Aiden O'Connell. I put him at top 10 with Gardner Minshew. So that's why he just leaped into my top 10, to
Yeah.
get that top 10. So
Okay.
yeah,
I mean, you can't lose that way. I know he'd rather be with Aaron Rodgers, but still to have Minshew,
yeah,
because like you said, Minshew is a guy who he is a gritty guy, man, that gets it done everywhere. I mean,
yep,
because look at his face, man. Look at his face before the news, and then look at his reaction after the news calculator. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
Adams, yeah. So Adams is excited too, man. He's excited. We got a quick question in here from looks like
okay,
Jesse Winchester. What you got? Would you guys be down to give some thoughts on his roster? Absolutely, we'll do that.
yeah.
Calculator loves to do that. So make sure you get your roster.
Hey, yeah, the guy that called did a I hope he took my advice and got Kyler Murray for one of his running backs in a dynasty league because hey, I love Kyler Murray. It was a super flex too at that. So yeah,
Yeah,
put that roster. You can put it in the comments. We'll talk about it if you can't get it on the air. Just put it in the comments section and we'll definitely take a look at it. Give you our thoughts. Give you where possibly what you might need to shore up with things and stuff like that. So yeah, we always like analyzing rosters. That's what we do. But Mr. 401, before we go into this is mock draft Mondays, I'm gonna start shooting some wide receiver names to you
yes, sir.
in a round. A couple guys going forward and just get your apartment. Okay, you're on the clock, Mr. 411. In
Okay.
round four. All right.
Whew.
You are up, and you have to choose between Devontae Smith or Michael Pittman. Who are you taking for if you're on the clock? If they're both available,
All right, Smith and who now?
Michael Pittman.
Oh, why would you do that to me?
I got to make you think about
Why would you
it.
do that to me, calculator? Oh my goodness. Oh man. Okay. All right. Okay. Ooh. Music off, please. All right. I'm gonna go with Michael Pittman on that, and I'm doing it based on Anthony Richardson. Okay.
Yes.
I'm banking on Anthony Richardson being the guy that being a young quarterback, he has to young quarterbacks they tend to lock in on a certain receiver, especially early on in their career. And so if I had to lock in on a receiver, Michael Pittman would be that guy if I was the quarterback in Indianapolis. So I'm going to go with Pittman. Also, Pittman is a big receiver. So I think that that's more of a security blanket too. So if I had to pick between these two, and man, you gave me two tough ones to choose from, I would go with Pittman.
And you know what, Mr. Foreman? There's a reason I picked those two. Well, not only are they going in
Yeah.
the fourth round, but you have one that is in a good offense and Devontae Smith.
Right.
However, he's a secondary receiver. You got
Hmm.
A.J. Brown. And now they got Saquon Barkley in town. Another guy that can catch the ball out of it. So, guys, the pie is getting a little bit smaller for Devontae
Yeah.
Smith. Michael Pittman, yeah, it's an average offense. However, he's the man. He's the alpha. He's the guy that they're going to look to early and often. So when I'm balancing one in a if that's a secondary receiver and a better offense, I still want the guy that's going to get the alpha share, and you're going to get a lot of that in there. You know, I'm seeing Chris Olave and Jalen Waddle going second. Similar situation. You have one guy in a better offense. However, he's the number 2 receiver on Waddle. Olave, mediocre offense. He's going to get the target share. So it's basically, do you want targets or quality versus quantity? And folks, if you are in a PPR lead, you want quantity because quantity is what gets you. I mean, because you know that it gives you more chances, gives you more outs. You know, all it takes is one, drop by Devontae Smith over, it would take like 4 or 5 drops for Michael Pittman. Same for Olave to Jalen Waddle deal. So that's why I kind of do that. And I'm going to do one more, and we're going to go later in the round, Mr. 411, and it's going to be guys that were teammates, but now they're different. In round 6, they're going close together. We have Christian Kirk, in your Jacksonville Jaguars, and you have Calvin Ridley with your Tennessee Titans. Who would you like between those two? Who would 411 if he's on the clock in the 6th round? Both of those guys available. You need a wide receiver. Who are you taking if those 2 guys are on the board? Who are you clicking in the 6th round?
Oh my gosh, Kurt and Ridley. Whew. Man, this is a tough one here, man. Ooh. Ooh, that's tough. Okay. In this case, look, man, I'm just gonna take a stab at it. I'm gonna go with Ridley.
Okay. And you know what? I agree with you on that as well. So, and my is, first of all, Calvin really got steamed way too much. The guy missed 2 years of football. And last time I checked, Mr. 4-1, football is hard. All right. And if you miss 2 years, you're going to have rust. And that's what Calvin really was experiencing in Jacksonville. Terrence and Trevor Lawrence is he's not a deep thrower. Okay. That's not Calvin Ridley's game, right? He's a precise thrower. And that's why I think Christian Kirk's a great example. The thing that's pulling me back on Christian Kirk, though, that's his thing. That the reason I would take Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, I think he's going to be hurt a little bit by Brian Thomas and Evan Ingram. We talk about that pie issue as well. Yes, better offense, right? Smaller pie. Calvin Ridley, it's him and DeAndre Hopkins. And let me tell you, folks, if you watch Will Levis last year, he's going to chuck up the ball. He's just going to while he's about to get sacked, throw the ball as far as he can. And Calvin Ridley is going on 50-50 ball. Didn't show that much in Trevor Lawrence, but I don't think Trevor Lawrence can throw the deep ball like, Will Levis. So I like Will Levis. I like the style. Again, I think he's going to get more of the quantity of looks because of the situation over the quality that Christian Kirk. So, folks, there's a theme we're going here. Me and 401, we're going for the quantity over quality when it comes to PPR scoring. Now, if you're non-PPR, then we're going to focus on quality. But we're talking about PPR, and those point per receptions, can add up for you.
Absolutely. As you can see right there, scrolling across the bottom, wide receivers PPR. That's why we put that in there.
Yeah.
All right. So here's Jesse with his question. With his roster calculator. I'll let you break that down.
Break it down is he needs to take his other teammates because you have a top 5 or top 3 running back, but top 5 overall player in Breece Hall. You got Kyron who can actually be a number 1 running back on your league. London, we talked about him earlier, top 10 receiver for Mr. 4-1. Not so much for me, but to get him after you've possibly drafted Hall and Kyron back to back. Olave, love Olave this year. We spoke about him earlier. I have him in the early 3rd round. I know you got a lot of these people because you were in a 10-person league. But Cup, hey, him, you want part of that, part of the Rams offense, and you got Kyron and Olave, Kyron and Cup, Kittle, great tight end. Of course, you couldn't get a premier tight end because of you were loading up on your wide receivers and running back, which is understandable. Richardson, we talked about Richardson in our quarterback section. He's a guy that could break fantasy, and what I mean by that is he can get you 10, 11 rushing touchdowns. We're talking about a faster version of Cam Newton, folks. The guy is just a beast. And to have a flex of Godwin, Javonte Williams, you can do running back, wide receiver. Oh my gosh, take your pick. Javonte Williams, great. Now, Javonte Williams, they were talking about early on in camp, but folks, I think he was still working out of injuries last year. He had a devastating knee injury 2 years ago, still working his way back, and now he is blowing up camp, folks. So everybody, I'm hearing all the guys, my ears on the ground in Denver, and they're saying Javonte is the man. So it's good. Because even if he's not the man, you got Godwin, and it's PPR. Godwin is a great PPR guy, especially if he reverts back to his form of 2 to 3 years ago when he was a PPR stud with Tom Brady. He just needs to get those touchdowns up to make him into a top 20 receiver. But again, another guy, he's a flex player. So even if he's not working out, hopefully you hit it good with Javonte. I do hope. I don't know if he's going to be available. Blake Corum, he is the backup for Kyron Williams. And I know Javonte Williams could be a good backup, but I think Blake Corum needs, if he's available, that is a guy I'd like to look to see to shore up Kyron Williams. And even if you have to give up a decent another guy on your bench for a guy, because if somebody drafted Blake Corum, they didn't draft him as a starter. They drafted him as, a later on. And so if you want to, if somebody's hurting and needs a starter, hey, maybe you have the firepower, maybe fire up a little sniff and trade offer, see if you can get Blake Corum on your team.
Yeah, this guy's loaded, man. And we thank you, Mr. Winchester, for sharing your roster. Look, Calculator and myself, we can keep up with your season. We'll keep up with your team all season. As long as you stay in touch with us, man, we'll keep up with it all year.
That's right. And, we're on every week, Jesse. So just if you want to waiver wire question, because that's what we're doing starting the year. 2 things win you a league. The draft is only one of them. The waiver wire is another one. So that's why we're going to be with you guys every year. We're going to tell you who you could possibly get. And guys, send us a comment on who's on your waiver wire, and we'll break it down on if you should use waiver priority or possibly just hopefully he passes waiver, then you can get them without wasting waiver priority on them. Because that's another thing. If you're in a rolling continuous list, the higher you go up that waiver listing, the more powerful that becomes as the year goes on.
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, we definitely thank you, Mr. Winchester. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, follow us, and comment as much as you want on even on episodes that have already aired. You go to Sportsworld Network on YouTube. We pick them up and we'll answer them for you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yes. Far too kind. All right. All right. Well, hang in there with us, Mr. Winchester, because we got to do our mock draft.
Yes, sir. Mock draft Monday.
Absolutely. Yep. All right. So, Calculator, what we're going to do here is we're going to prepare for the mock draft. And everybody take a look during the commercial break, too. Take a peek at the top right-hand corner because that'll definitely let you know that it's draft time. But we'll be right back.
Is it time for massage? Of course. Come on out to the best of the best day spa in Miller, Georgia. Heavenly Spa Mobile is located at 2484 Ingleside Avenue, Building A, Suite 101A. You may go online to heavenlyspamobile.com to see my availability and schedule your future appointment online. Don't wait too late. You might miss out. Look forward to seeing you soon. Happy pampering.
Aha, the magic hands of Heavenly Spa Mobile.
We're what, Calculator?
Relaxation is key, my friend.
Absolutely. Where relaxation is the key. Check out Latanya. You see the information scrolling across the bottom. Make sure you do that. All right, top rack. Look at the top corner right there above Calculator. We got our helmet.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You know what time it is.
It is mock draft time, folks. We are going from the 9 position this time. If you followed us, we drafted early in our very first episode, draft fairly in the middle last episode. But I wanted to draft from the 9 spot this year. Same scoring, PPR scoring. So, that is the majority, 12-person league. So, hey, we're going to start this draft off and see what falls to us in the 9th spot. Oh, my goodness. Do I hear a doorbell, Mr. 411?
Yeah, I think you do. Did you order pizza today?
No, man, that's your door, not my door.
Oh, okay. Yeah, hey, man. Yeah, that is my door, isn't it? Okay.
Yes.
Nobody don't like to answer the door while we are, doing the show. But I bet it keeps ringing, so I better see who's there. Let's see who's there.
Aha! LT in the house. The defending champion of the 411 league has graced us with his parents' appearance again.
Yeah, there you go. Give yourself that tap on the shoulder there.
And LT, I don't mean to put you on the spot, right? But me and 411 are split, right? We are split between AJ Brown and Garrett Wilson as in our top 10 receivers. And just so happens in this 9 spot, right, AJ Brown and Garrett Wilson are available. So as our guest show and as the defending champion, I would like your insight. And we're going to let you be the tiebreaker because if Mr. 401 picked, he picked Garrett Wilson. If I pick AJ Brown. So we're going to let LT pick. Is that okay with you, Mr. 401, to let LT make the tiebreaker between us?
Oh, absolutely.
So LT, you make the pick and tell us why.
Okay, that's very easy, fellas. I'm going to make the pick, and I'm going to pick the better team. I'm going to pick A.J. Brown, and I'm going to go with Philly.
Okay.
Philly is a better team and can most likely score a whole lot more than the Jets.
Yep, and Mr. 401, that was our argument. That was my argument as well. Mr. 401, you had great arguments. Don't get me wrong, but I had that's why I went to LT because I'm not going to be biased.
Come on, man!
It's about the opportunity. It's about the opportunity and the more chances at touchdowns.
Come on, man! Look at it. Where's your lamp at, LT? Where is it?
There's a reason we have him on, right? He's got the lamp. So, there it is. He's
over there over his shoulder. Yeah. So that lamp represents the champion, and he is the JD Lamps and More Home Decor 411 Sportsworld Fantasy League 2023 champion. And so we have to give Larry his props on that. And so that's it. He broke the tie there. But make sure you check out Miss JD Lamps and More. She takes your bottles. She takes all those things. If you like me, if you like Hennessy, if you like Ciroc, LT on this show, he's a bartender. He knows all the stuff. But she takes those bottles instead of people just throwing them away. She changed them into beautiful things. That's what you see here, just like our championship. And she also took something and made this right here. See that Mr. 401 item right there? These are the type of things that she does and makes great gifts. So make sure you check out Miss JD, and her information is scrolling across the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, excellent. Oh, and look at this, Mr. 401. It's back on us, and we have 2 wide receivers again that we are little. We got Devontae Adams, who's my top 10. We have Drake London as your top 10. And we have Chris Olave, who, another great player. So, wow. Mr. 401, do you mind me asking LT again to be a tiebreaker, if you don't mind?
Oh, I have no problem with LT doing that because that's why he's here.
That's why he's here.
He's here to bring the information. And by the way, everybody, remember I said earlier, look at the corner. Make sure you look at that. Look at that beautiful helmet sitting up there.
Yes.
LT, make that selection for us, my man.
We are split on Devontae Adams and Drake London, Mr. 411, or LT.
And LT, before you say anything, do you like Drake? Do you like Drake?
That's very easy, guys. I'm taking Devontae Adams.
Oh man, I'm
Oh,
2 for 2.
Devontae Adams
look.
used to play with the
Okay.
Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
And when Devontae Adams was playing with the Green Bay Packers, he was
Yeah.
catching every ball. They fed him the ball. When
Yeah.
he is healthy, he is one of absolute best wide receivers in the league.
Yeah, and I, one of my arguments is he has more of the sure thing. He's done it before. We hadn't seen Drake London do it yet. Yes, things have changed, and yes, he could break out. But I wanted the guy that kind of, if I'm going to draft this guy to be my wide receiver too, which we can with AJ Brown. That's why I'm going Devontae Adams. So Mr. 401, I'm sorry, I put LT on there, and he's going to pass on the Drake and go with Devontae Adams as our second wide receiver.
All right. Well, when Drake has those free concert tickets, I'm gonna make sure you watch, listen to this episode, and I'm saying, man, I picked you, Drake. I picked you, but my guys went the other direction. But they have great reasons.
Yes, and folks, we're, as you can see, wide receivers. I mean, quarterbacks are still. We noticed the first one went off the board in Josh Allen, and then tight ends flew off the board. Jalen Hurts went off the board. So it looks like a lot of the onesie positions were going off the board. But but I'll just throw this to you, Mr. 411. If you want, or I can take the pick. You can say we do need a running back. A lot of running backs, though, I think we can push off. We can hit wide receiver again. Because there's only one more wide receiver in my tier that's still available. If you want, we'd be going fun and gun if we, go start off with 3 straight receivers, or we can get the safety of a sure thing quarterback. Tight ends, there is a tier break, but we showed in our last show that we were able to push tight ends down the board and still get good value. So what do you think? Do you want to go running back, or you want to stick with that before the tier break and wide receivers, or do you want to go quarterback? Mr. 401, where do you want to go with this pick? I think he LT, did he freeze up on you?
I think he did.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to take the pick while Mr. 401 talks with the producers on this, and I'm going to go running back here. I like our starter receivers. I'm changing my pick because I think the running backs available are still going to be available with my next pick because we picked pretty early. So I'm going to go before the tier break. And I'm going to hit wide receiver again. I really like Mike Evans. I like it. There's 3 things in life: death, taxes, and Mike Evans getting 1,000 yards and double-digit touchdowns. So
Absolutely. I 100% agree because last year, every team that I was playing against in our league, and I was having a week to where, I might lose this week. What kind of players does he have on his team? And it was always Mike Evans. Mike Evans was always scoring very high every week, and he is one of the top wide receivers in the league.
And you could say, okay, what about the quarterback issues? Well, he did good last year with Baker Mayfield, and guess what? Mayfield's coming back. Oh, and guess what I found out? Tampa Bay's guy that they drafted on the offensive line doing pretty good, so that should give Baker Mayfield longer to to scan the field, and a lot more chances to hit Mike Evans on those bombs that he's good. So I'm going to switch gears because I think the running backs, this is your dead zone running back area. So that's why I don't want to draft a running back in the dead zone when I'm just going to I'll let one fall to me in the 4th round and then take the sure thing of Mike Evans. So we got 3 stud wide receivers on our team, folks.
Yeah, and now we're looking more like a 0 running back strategy.
Yeah. But the guy I was thinking about in the third round was Rachaad White.
Right.
He fell to us. So I think that's where we can, even though I love Deebo Samuel with this pick. However, we got 3 receivers. I mean, we got our flex position pretty much filled out already. So right now, we don't want to go 2-0 RB. So we're going to at least try and solidify it somewhat with a guy that we could. Hey, the guy was awesome last year. Yes, we drafted Mike Evans, but in this situation, I don't mind taking 2 Tampa Bay players at this time. So I'm going to get Rachaad White in the spot. Are you good with that, LT?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to give you the next pick. We got a few picks before we pick again. So we're going to have 3 receivers, and we're going to have a starting running back on our thing. All right, some more quarterbacks went off the board. Man, quarterbacks flew off the board, this past round. So they are getting a little stacked. But hey, look, tight ends are still, man, we still got Mark Andrews, Dalton Kincaid, Evan Gilbert. We still have lots of tight ends. So, but I'll let you pick, LT, if you want. Running backs, we still got your the guys that are doing, they're not full blown running back. Some of them have age, some of them are in committees, but some of them are in good committees. So we could go back to running back. I feel good at wide receiver for the mere fact is look at all those receivers left. I know those guys will fall back to us. So I'm not worried about receiver. I'm still kind of worried about running back, unless you have a quarterback that really fancies your style.
Well, right here, I believe I would go either running back or quarterback.
Okay.
Now, I believe tight end, like we've already seen in the last couple of weeks, tight end has still got good value later, and I believe we can still hang on a couple more rounds.
Yes.
I would definitely go running back here or quarterback.
Okay.
This may be the spot for the quarterback.
Okay, your quarterbacks, you got C.J. Stroud, Joe Burrow, and Dak Prescott as what I have in a tier 2 type quarterback.
Right. Let me see. I do like Joe Burrow this year, and I do like Jordan Love.
Well, now, tell you, LT, if you really like Jordan Love, I think Jordan Love will fall to us because if you look at the picks between us,
right,
I wouldn't go quarterback here. And the reason I say that is every team that picks before us already has a quarterback. So we can actually hold off on quarterback. See, folks, that's why you want to see who picks before and behind you. Because even though we like quarterback, we know one should fall to us because we don't think another person is going to draft another quarterback ahead of us. So we'll concentrate on running back at this point. So who do you like in running back, LT?
Running back. Go back to, let's see. Go back to the running backs. David Montgomery got me through some very bad weeks last year.
He's steady. He's gonna get. He might not get the 20 touches, but he'll get goal line carries.
But he's good for 15 to 20 points every week.
Yeah. So you just want to get David Montgomery?
Aaron Jones is a little older right now.
New offense as well.
Don't know how he's going to react. They can all talk about how he's doing great in training camp, but until you actually see him on the field, we still just don't know yet.
Yeah.
I would absolutely right here go with David Montgomery.
I'm going David Montgomery, folks. And folks,
right.
Mr. 4-1, are you back with us?
I am back, and I've heard everything that you guys are saying. Just some background things that we're working on over here with the producers. So you guys are doing great.
Okay.
But also, Banco Stacks has a question down below. Speaking of running backs, so just want to throw that in there for you guys.
Oh, well, at the turn, folks. Okay. We're going to get David Montgomery and Mr. 4-1. As you saw, we passed on quarterback because we know all 3 of those quarterbacks will come back to us because everybody has a quarterback that picks before us again. So I'm going to put you on the clock and you can get our quarterback for us. All
right. Okay. Can I draft David Craig?
David Craig will get you 0 points. Mr. so no, we're not doing David Craig. But because if you look, the people that pick ahead of us, 1, 2, 3, 4 quarterbacks, 5 quarterbacks. There's people that 5 quarterbacks might go off the league, so that's why we're going quarterback in this situation, Mr. 4-1. So you got your pick of C.J. Stroud, Joe Burrow, and Dak Prescott, or Jordan Love. We like Jordan Love too. Who do you want at that pick, at this pick?
Oh, run those names back for me again. Stroud,
C.J. Stroud, Joe Burrow, and Jordan Love, and Dak Prescott.
Oh my goodness! Well, look, one of the best wide receivers in the game is tied to Dak. You have you have Love. I'm about to say Kevin Love, but we have Love. All right, we love Love as well. And Burrow. I said I like the new look Burrow, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm gonna go with C.J. Stroud since he's available. Yeah, and I feel like he's gonna break out.
And not only C.J. Stroud, folks. C.J. Stroud has 3 receivers: Stephon Diggs, in New in Town, Nico Collins, high third round pick, and Tank Dell going in the top 5. So, folks, he's he's going he's going he's going to have lots of options. We don't have to pick which wide receiver is going to break out. We're just picking the guy that's going to throw to him. So that's why we're going to pick C.J. Stroud.
Absolutely. Hey man, I think our team's coming together nicely here.
I like this. Yeah, folks, if you want a recap of our team, we got our C.J. Stroud, Rashad White, and David Montgomery. The reason they're on our team, we went A.J. Brown, Devontae Adams, Mike Evans, folks. That's probably 400 targets right there between those 3 players. So that's plenty of firepower. So now we're back on the clock, and so we got pretty much.
Did we take care of Stacks with the turn? Did we take care of him with the CMC at 1, and then come around with the 2-3 back to back?
Well, if you look at what AI did, AI is looking at. I wouldn't do this. Jalen Hurts, Brandon Ayuk. If I have CMC, I am going wide receiver. I like Jalen Waddle at the turn. Olave is actually making the turn. He went a little higher here, but if Olave is available, you got to get a wide receiver at the 2-3 turn,
Mm-hmm.
and then if Isaiah Pacheco, go running back. That, because after Pacheco is going off, but hey, we talked about Michael Pittman. Hey, you could go with a Michael Pittman Olave back to back, a Michael Pittman Waddle back to back, and then you have solid players. What do you think, LT?
Did you see Neighbors at the 3?
Yeah,
Neighbors.
Yes,
he is climbing up everybody's board.
He's going crazy, so that is another guy. But the reason I'm a little worried about taking Neighbors as a wide receiver 1 or 2. Hey, I love Neighbors. Like if I pick wide receiver, I love to have Neighbors as a 3, like a flex guy, because then if it doesn't work out as a rookie receiver, it's not a rookie receiver problem. It's a Daniel Jones problem, folks. And That's the one thing that scares me about Neighbors. So if you have him as a 3, I'd like him. I wouldn't pick him though. If I needed 2 wide receivers, I would go with the more established Waddle, Olave, a more established Pittman, stuff like that. If I needed to lock in a receiver. So, but our next pick, we're on the clock. OTC, folks. We are on the clock. More wide receivers went off the board. So, folks. I'll take this pick if you guys don't mind. And the reason I'm going to take this is tight ends. We still got 3 solid tight ends. So let's see who's picking behind us. One person needs a tight end. Only one person needs a tight end. So I feel good that either Ingram, Kittle, or Ferguson will fall to us, folks. So I'm not going to skip on tight end. I'm going to build up our running back stable again because we neglected it early on. I want to build more attempts. Folks, Jalen Warren is doubtful already for week 2. I'm going to get Najee Harris here. I want a guy that's ample opportunity. Hey, we hated Arthur Smith as a Bijan Robinson owner. We're going to love Arthur Smith as a Najee Harris owner because the less talented back is going to get carries as we've seen in his system. So even though I think he's less talented than Jalen Warren, he's healthy now. He's going to get the attempts on what I want to think is an improved offense. So I'm going with Najee Harris and build up our stable of running backs right now.
Hey, your best ability is availability.
That's right. All right, and just as I said, well, no tight ends. Oh, the guy who's waiting on tight ends, he went. I was kind of hoping, I was secretly hoping Calvin Ridley would have fell to us, but he didn't. But it's crazy if you see a stud, but look what Super Studs did. He did a Calvin Ridley, Dustin Hopkins or Hopkins stack. 2 wide receivers from the same team. So he said, "Hey, if one's going to pop off, I'm going to have both of them." I'm going to throw this one to LT, our guest star, if you don't mind, Mr. 4-1. I think we need tight end because there's 1, 2, 3, 4 teams need tight ends before we pick again, LT. And we only have 3 in a tier. So I think we need to go tight end. There's Evan Ingram. We get our pick of the litter, so to speak. Evan Ingram, George Kittle, and Jake Ferguson. Who would you take as your tight end?
That would be easy. You know I'd pick George Kittle. He's already proven.
Yeah. And folks, there's still a chance that he can get traded. That there's no definite. And if he gets traded, who automatically vaults to the number 2 in target share? It's George Kittle. But we're not spending a high pick on him, folks. We're in the 9th round, I'm sorry, we're in the 8th round. So it's not like hey, I'm with you on that one. I like George Kittle personally. I would take Evan Ingram at this just because I think he's the number 2 target share. But again, what hurts Evan Ingram is the unknown factor of Brian Thomas. Brian Thomas could take a lot of those targets away. So so we're more of a sure. And Kittle's still going to get his touchdowns no matter who's in town. So we'll get George Kittle right here.
And just a couple of years ago, George Kittle was being drafted in the 2nd and 3rd round.
Yeah, he was in that top 3 conversation. So we're getting him late in this draft. So Mr. 4-1, I'm going to throw this one to you now because you're on the clock. All right, and we got, if you want to, I'll give you a quick recap of our team. We got our quarterback in Stroud, right? We got 3 running backs: Rashad White, David Montgomery, and Najee Harris.
Right.
We got 3 great receivers: AJ Brown, Devontae Adams, Mike Evans. So we could say we could need some more depth at wide receiver. If you want, we'll check the wide receivers here. Also, I'm going to check the people behind us. The team needs behind us, they pretty much like us. They need defenses and kickers and bench, and that's what we're doing. So here I got the receivers listed for you. If you want to go receiver, you got some upside guys there. Xavier Worthy. We don't want Jacoby Myers. We got Devontae Adams. We're good with that. We don't want to do the super studs model and 2 wide receiver from the same team because we got the alpha. We know that. You don't know the alpha in Tennessee. You know the alpha in Vegas. But we got Xavier Worthy, Keon Coleman in that Buffalo offense. He's available.
Yeah.
Or hey, running back there. We can go to old man Ezekiel if you want to go back to running back. I kind of like our running backs though. To tell you the truth. I think we need wide receiver. What do you think, Mr. 411?
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now. Remember this guy used to play for the Lakers, wore goggles, had a great spin move in the post. Magic Johnson used to feed him in the post on the fast break.
Oh, I know where you're going with that one. Worthy.
Yeah, I think this guy's worthy of a selection right now. So we're gonna go with Xavier Worthy because
I'm with you, man. And folks, even if you don't break out with this pick, he's on our bench right now. We can give him time. We can give him time to grow into. But hey, he's also tied to a fantastic offense. So there's no downside with this pick. So I like that pick, Mr. 411.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Like I said, you guys, man, you stacked us up at running back. You guys stacked us up at receiver. We got the quarterback that we need. We only need a quarterback later on just to fill in a week. So there's no need to go there. You got Kittle at tight end. We pretty much, this team is pretty much set. So why not go out there and grab a lottery ticket?
Right now, folks, we are drafting upside. That's what we're doing right here. We don't need. We got guys that like. We're not looking at backup quarterback right now because none of those guys we're going to click the button ahead of CJ Stroud. So that's a way. We want guys that we might click the button on when it's coming. So I'm going to stay in the way. And LT, you're going to be up after me. So there's going to be a lot of picks that go off before you. So I apologize. So I'm going to take this pick. I'm going to stay in the running back room. And the reason I want a running back right here is because I don't think this guy is going to come back to us. And with our next pick, all these wide receivers, I'm good with all these wide receivers behind us. Shakir, he'll fall to us. Rashid Shaheed should fall to us. He might not, but I'm good with it, even if he doesn't. So I'm going to go back to the well again with the running back. I'm going to get Rico Dowdle. And the reason I'm looking at Rico Dowdle is this. We talk about guys that we don't have anything to lose. This guy could be the starting running back when all you have is old man Ezekiel Elliott running ahead of you. He's going to be on a high-powered offense. Hey, guess who led the NFL in carries inside the 10-yard line? If I'm not mistaken, it was Tony Pollard. He wasn't very effective, but he had the opportunities. So we got a guy that we're not going to have to start, but we're going to wait and see what happens with that backfield situation. So and I don't think he'll make it back to me due to other people who might be thinking the same as me. So I'm going with Rico Dowdle. Oh, Shaheed did go off the board. So, but a lot of quarterbacks went off the board just like I thought. So, but a lot of those wide receivers I'm good with. I named them before. I'm good with wide receiver, but LT, this is your pick. We can go back. We can get a backup quarterback if you want, because I feel good with all our other picks, right now. But, hey, we talked about Jahad Dotson at the beginning of the show, didn't we, Mr. 411? A lot of question marks ahead. But what about you, Mr. LT? What do you think about going?
I would go wide receiver here.
Okay.
We need it. If we're going to, we started out with a lot of wide receivers off top, kind of like a zero RB strategy. And they always say you need at least 5 to 6 wide receivers
to feel comfortable,
to be able to fill and plug and play based on the matchups for that week. Right here, I see someone who was on my roster a lot last year, and he was the number 1 pass catcher on the team. I would go to Mario Douglas.
Pop Douglas. I like it. Hey, and LT said the magic word, number 1 receiver, right? So we're getting a number 1 receiver as our, late in the draft, so I got, hey, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. All right, Mr. 4-1, I'm going to throw this one to you. Okay, we can stay at receiver. We can go back to running back. We can. Hey, this can be a time. Tua's still out there if you want a high upside backup quarterback. So a tight end. They still got some decent. Actually, man, I love Brock Bowers still being available at a tight end. If Kittle doesn't work out. But I don't want to steal your thunder, Mr. 4-1. This is your pick.
Well, it really comes down to 2 players here for me. Comes down to 2 players for me. It comes down to Tua, because the explosive games that Tua can have, right? And he's also can give us some trade value in case there's some injuries going on with other teams' quarterbacks, and they're going to be sitting there salivating for a Tua who has Tariq Hill and other receivers to go to with all the speed in Miami. Then on the other hand, you mentioned Brock Bowers already, and this is again late in the draft, and you can get you a tight end that's basically a wide receiver. And and with Minshew out there now, I mean, he might be. He can't just throw everything to one guy, so
correct.
He may be the recipient of that. Plus, it kind of helps us out if Kittle gets injured. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
he does have a injury background, so and sometimes he's definitely at his top. Man, he's a top. He can be a tight end 1 at times. But then there's times where you like, man, I don't know. So we got that dynamic. So with that all said, I do feel like we can find another quarterback to fill in for 1 week. So we can go with Bowers right here at tight end.
And people might be saying, but you have Devontae Adams. I don't care, because you can support 2 pass catchers, especially if one is as talented as Brock Bowers. And we're not starting 2 wide receivers. This is a guy that's a tight end, and we're not starting him. Again, we're talking about a wait and see approach. He's going to be on our bench because we got Kittle, and we're going to see how it plays out. I was going to go Brock Bowers as well with that pick, so I like your choice. And hey, I think Tua could fall to us with this next pick. Let's see. Nope, Tua went right after Brock Bowers.
Somebody was back there salivating over Tua.
Yeah. So, and actually, folks, that was actually the tear break for me. I'm not a fan of Trevor Lawrence. Hey, we got our thing. I'm going to go and look at what's our wide receivers. Hey, man, Josh Downs is laying, but I'm not, a big Josh Downs fan. A running back. Upside, folks. We got an upside alert. I like Ray Davis, folks, and this is where I'm going to go with this. LT, you're going to be right after me, but the reason I'm going with Ray Davis, folks, upside. Look at that, Buffalo. Hey, James Cook isn't solidified. He's not going. Is he really going to carry the load? Hey, they're going to have to give him a break. Ray Davis is a young guy. They invested some draft capital in him. I like the moral of the story when you're later in drafts and 411. You said it best. Lottery tickets. You mentioned the word lottery tickets. This is a lottery ticket pick. If Tyler Algier was here, I'd pick him. He's gone. He's another lottery pick that I've been taking in a lot of my drafts. Roschon Johnson is rated higher than him, but the thing I don't like about Roschon Johnson is Khalil Herbert and Swift. Those guys, I don't like a guy that's, folks, I have my ear to the ground with our correspondent from Chicago, Windy City. He said they got this running back that they drafted that they're high on. So there's just a lot of mouths at the running back position to feed and Roschon Johnson. So I'm going to go with Ray Davis, clear, in my opinion, as the number 2 role, and he's in a high-powered offense. I'm going to go with, again, upside with Ray Davis. All right, so it's back to you, LT. We pretty much got all our bench spot. We got one more bench spot, but we still need a defense. We still need a kicker. We don't need them. We do take a philosophy that we can draft guys later in the draft at defense and kicker. So we don't need that. A lot of times we don't even draft a kicker. We draft upside guys and then do a drop ad right before the season to see what happens. But where are you looking at, Mr. Our LT?
Typically here, I would be trying to look for another running back with upside.
Okay. Yep.
Since we picked kind of weak on running backs because we went heavy on the wide receivers.
You got Damian Pierce, Bucky Irvin, Jalen Wright, who's been doing pretty good in preseason, and of course CMC's backup in Elijah Mitchell. So we do have good choices.
Yeah, people are always running for Mitchell during the season at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this would be a good spot for. I still like Damian Pierce. He had a shot last year at being the man.
And we have his old buddy in CJ Stroud. And I like Damian Pierce as well. Joe Mixon ain't getting any younger, folks.
No, he's not.
So you got a young guy that showed that he could carry a full load if needed 2 years ago. He kind of fizzled out last year, but I think that was just a lot of injuries that he was creeping up. So hey, I'm good with Damian Pierce. So you want to click that button?
Sure,
LT?
absolutely.
All right.
There it is.
All right. So Mr. 411, do you want this pick or you want last pick?
Oh yeah, just give me the last pick calculator.
Okay. So with that said, I'm gonna go with a defense because I am of the mindset that I will take a kicker with my last pick. Sometimes I don't even pick them at all. But defense on the board, Chicago. Again, I talked about my buddy Windy City. He loves the Bears defense. This year, and granted they're going to have some games against high-powered offenses in Green Bay, high-powered offenses in Detroit, but they also get a game against Minnesota with Sam Darnold, maybe seeing ghost, or as we've seen him say before. So I'm going to go with the Bears defense and get our defense on the board. So now, Mr. 411, we need a kicker, or we can just build our bench and get our kicker on the waiver wire. It's up to you.
Well, at this point, let's talk about what kickers have come off the board. Has any come off the board yet?
Yes. There was a kicker run right before us. Justin Tucker, Aubrey, and Butker. Those were the first kickers chosen before us. So it's
where we going. Cool.
Oh yeah, there we go.
There we go.
Yeah, indoors. A much improved offense. Yeah, I like Koo as well. And there you see the kickers. So another B plus, but hey, we got 89. That beat our 87 last year. But folks, just a recap. We got CJ Stroud as our quarterback, Rashad White Montgomery as our cowbells, our holding down the fort at running back. Hey, our wide receivers: AJ Brown, Devontae Adams, George Kittle as our tight end, Mike Evans or Najee Harris as a flex player. So we got plenty there. Our Bears as a defense. But look at this bench, folks. Xavier Worthy, lottery ticket. Rico Dowdle, lottery ticket. Demario Douglas, a number 1 wide receiver, lottery ticket. Brock Bowers, lottery. Ray Davis, there, folks. It's a common theme. When you fill out that starting lineup and you're later in the draft, start pounding lottery tickets, because all you need is one to scratch off, and then you'll be scratching off a championship with one of those guys.
Absolutely, absolutely. LT, before you comment there on the draft board, Cruz Garcia, he says he's ended up with AJ Brown and Devonta Smith.
Oh,
What should he do,
no.
guys?
Keep them. Do not explore trades. Devontae Smith, Devontae Smith is in a great offense. Yes, AJ Brown is the alpha, but Devontae Smith is still going to get his. As far as we had him behind Michael Pittman, but Michael Pittman's a good player too. You know what I'm saying? So we like Devontae Smith. Both of those guys are going to cook. And heck, guess what? Say unfortunately, if your main man AJ Brown goes then Devontae Smith is going to cook even more. Both of them has showed that they can thrive in this offense. So keep them both, and hey, watch the points pile up when it's shootout time.
All right, excellent. LT, you have some comments on our draft?
Yeah, I still love all the lottery tickets because you basically got to have something to look forward to. You have basically, I usually play those lottery tickets for a flex spot because most of the time they're not going to make your starting lineup, but you're switching your flexes out based on your matchups during the week. Yep. So we have a lot of good options there, and any of them could pop in week 1 or week 2. All it takes is one injury.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and that's why we, and that was the key word, folks. That's what we're advising you: high upside players for your bench, because those are the guys that can carry you to championships.
My goodness, man, what a draft! I'd like to go ahead and do a couple things here. Like to thank LT for joining us. Like to thank
thank you, LT,
for doing this thing.
Hey, LT being our tiebreaker, Mr. 411.
Yeah, he came in and he pounded the gavel there and made the decision there for us. We'd like to thank Banco Stacks for his question today, Jesse Winchester for his, and then also Cruz Garcia. So we thank all of them for joining, and also ultimately we thank everybody who tuned in, everybody who's going to tune in later, everybody who's going to put the comments in, everybody who hits the like button, everybody who hits the share, because sharing is caring, and make sure you subscribe as well. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Anything else before we roll out, gentlemen?
No, just hey, for those people that are drafting on one of the busiest draft weekends, good luck. Hey, go to our prior shows. We, some of that information, we try to give you a little bit of a strategy involved with top 10 and what to do. So definitely click on prior episodes if you haven't, and good luck drafting.
Absolutely.
There it is. And for Larry the Lamp, our current champion, for the calculator, and Mr. 401, we thank everybody. You catch us next week. Have a great day. Have a great time drafting, and enjoy your fantasy leagues.
Yes.
We out of here.
Out of here.